Welcome to CandleLight Audiobooks. Chapter 81. The Secret Misses. When Luna heard their words, her heart immediately started pounding. Big brother, take it easy, how can you possibly tell the way Theo looks at me is different? Moreover, as if he's looking at his wife. Cough cough, that big brother probably has bad eyesight. Luna said to Theo. As soon as Luna said the words, the woman nodded in agreement. You're right, it's true. Look carefully at the little boy, he looks a lot like his dad, but his eyes are actually very similar to his mom's, especially when he smiles. Luna was about to collapse. Ahem, that big sister may also have bad eyesight. How could Little Bun look like her? She wasn't Little Bun's mother. Theo looked at the girl's eyes calmly. In fact, they did look a bit alike. He had already noticed before, when Little Treasure laughed, his features and his air was like Luna's. If it was a coincidence, it was really a happy fate. This little episode passed quickly. After sitting down, Luna sighed comfortably. Ah. Having hot pot with air conditioning on in summer is the best. Little Treasure darling, I swear you'll love this feeling. It was the first time in 2 years that Little Bun was eating outside. He was a little curious about everything, looking here and there, but he needed to hold hands with Luna the whole time to feel calm. Luna flipped through the menu, and asked Theo for his opinion. You can't eat spicy food, so how about we order a mandarin duck pot? You decide. Theo nodded, took off his coat, and casually rested one arm on the back of his chair. It was a normal gesture, but the way he did it oozed so much masculinity that the little deer suddenly started jumping around madly. For some reason, it seemed this was happening more and more lately. The little deer was getting dizzy from jumping around so much. Was Theo doing it on purpose or not? The pot and food they ordered was quick to arrive, and Luna pushed everything to the back of her mind in favor of immediately satisfying her appetite. Big Demon King Goldberg ate the hot pot in a very meticulous way. He calculated everything very exactly, which dish came first, which came later, how long each one should be left in the pot. He served her and Little Bun regularly throughout the meal, and was even more professional than when they ate at her place the last time. Luna had never eaten hot pot so comfortably before, since it was enough for her to just be able to eat. Every dish was cooked right, unlike hers, which always inadvertently ended up cooked too little or too much. In the middle of eating, Theo suddenly asked, Are Adam and you in the same movie? Luna was taken aback a bit before she responded. Adam was the hot idol fawned over by Glory World, and also Theo's nephew, so it was not surprising that Theo would know about his recent situation. She nodded. Yes, he joined the crew today. Actually, I also only just found out today, and I was surprised to see him. Theo gave her a fishball, and asked casually, Do the two of you have a good relationship? Luna scratched her head and felt that there was nothing to hide, so she answered directly, My relationship with him is a bit difficult to explain. We dated for a short while, but it's been a long time since we split up. Now, we're friends. But I reckon that's going to end soon. This guy, since coming back, has caused me to get a lot of hate, he's about to get me killed. If he bullies you, let me know, said Theo. Luna laughed. He won't. I'm the one who bullies him in our scenes. As for outside filming, if he dares bully me, I'll just become his auntie, and use my status all the time to suppress him. As soon as she said the words, Luna and Theo were both stunned. Luna hated that she couldn't smash her head against the ground. Why couldn't she control this loose, flirty mouth? A mandarin duck pot is a hot pot that has been divided into 2 compartments, usually one for a spicy soup base and one for a mild soup base. Chapter 82. Luna desperately gave him some dishes. I'm just kidding, don't mind me. Theo did not look the slightest bit angry, and in fact looked like he was in a good mood. He smiled lightly. Good idea. Luna was stunned silly. He actually thought it was a good idea? Luna. Theo looked at her suddenly with a serious expression. Being the focus of those deep eyes made Luna nervous. What is it? If you change your mind, come and find me anytime, said Theo. When Luna heard this, her heart thumped. She knew he meant the issue of marrying him. Even though he hadn't brought it up again after her clear rejection last time, she could feel that his attitude towards her had been different all along. She could also feel the atmosphere between them growing more and more ambiguous. The worst was her heart, which was starting to thump out of her control. Was what Adam said actually true, that her head had been turned by Theo's beauty? After what she had experienced 5 years ago, she thought she would never fall in love again. There was even a long period of time when she had had a huge psychological problem. She extremely hated and was completely repulsed by men, especially when she saw bastards. She couldn't suppress the evil spirits that burned inside her, and she was obsessed with annihilating them, like meting out divine justice. Her frame of mind had calmed down a lot in recent years, but she still rejected men in general. What more finding someone to marry? That was simply too impossible for her. But this man in front of her, who always had on a poker face, and had a frightening aura that often scared her, somehow he had cracked the thick shell surrounding her heart. After the hot pot, little Treasure was tired, and fell asleep in the car on the way back home. He was so small and soft in her embrace that Luna didn't want to let go of him. Oh, it was terrible. Big Bun had already made her so confused, and Little Bun. She realized that the more she spent time with Little Bun, the more she liked him, to the point that if she didn't see him for even just one day, she would miss him. If she didn't hug him today, it would feel like she was missing something. This was not a good sign. When they got home, Luna carefully carried the little guy into his bedroom. Theo leaned against the doorframe, and looked at with a gentle expression. We've troubled you these few days. Luna tucked Little Treasure in, and then came out after closing the door. It's nothing, I also like Little Treasure very much. After hesitating for a moment, she said with a relieved smile, Little Treasure is getting better and better, so it looks like soon, I won't need to live here anymore. Theo's face suddenly turned black. Are you very eager to leave? Luna stepped back under his fierce gaze. The plan had always been that I would leave after Little Treasure recovers, would also be a bother if I stayed for so long. Theo, you're not. Luna had no choice, she could only raise her head and look him straight in the eye. But I would feel troubled. Theo frowned. Troubled? Yes. Luna took a deep breath and spoke. To be honest, I'm not a very disciplined person. If I stay here, I have to always mind my behavior. Theo, you don't have to. Luna face-bombed, and said with resignation, okay, even if you don't mind, I also need a private life. Occasionally, I'll have friends over. I'll also need to relax after work sometimes, and ride my bike, or hit the bars and nightclubs. If I meet a good-looking guy, it's unavoidable that I'll bring him back for the night. Enough. Theo's face had become uglier the more he listened, until he couldn't bear it anymore, and finally interrupted her. Chapter 83. Late at night, Luna lay in bed with her thoughts flying around. As if she would bring a guy home, in the case of the guys who had wanted to mess around with her or sleep with her, she dragged them into alleys and beaten all of them up. Especially the married men with the mark of a wedding ring on their fingers, those she beat the hardest until they cried for their mothers. As for her sex life, it sounded sad, but the only time she had sex was that night 5 years ago. Maybe that experience of her first time really traumatized her. She felt like vomiting whenever she thought about having sex. She really pissed Theo off tonight, but there was no other way. She would have had to bring it up sooner or later, might as well get it over with now before things got out of control. It was better that she distance herself first, before he shunned her after her ugly, naked side was exposed. Because of her restless heart, her night was tangled up in bad dreams. In her confused dreams, she could hear different voices in her ears. Luna, what makes you think you can fight me? Apart from your blood connection, you are nothing. You still have face to ask about that bastard. What are you trying to do? Don't tell me you actually plan to give birth and raise him? That kid was premature, and died as soon as he was born. I've already dealt with the body. Luna, I'm telling you, from now on, Robert Brown, no longer acknowledge you as my daughter. You have nothing to do with our Brown family any longer. Luna, I'm sorry, let's break up. I won't stop caring about you, I'll treat you like my own little sister. She ran and ran with all her might, trying to escape those horrible voices. She ran to the top of a hospital. Below her was an endless abyss which seemed to have some dark attraction, luring her closer, step by step. At last, she closed her eyes, and jumped. The moment she fell, she didn't wake up from her dream as she usually did, but instead fell into another surreal dream. This time it wasn't a nightmare, but a wet dream. She had had this kind of dreams before, and they were always accompanied by tremendous fear and helplessness, but this time, something seemed different. One after another, cool, reverent kisses fell on her forehead, her eyes, nose, lips. She didn't find it disgusting or filthy this time, but instead felt that she was being cherished by the other party, like the most precious treasure. Who was he? Ow, that hurt. Why did he bite her? Even though Theo had done his best to restrain himself, in the end he still couldn't stop himself from entering her room. He knew he shouldn't wake her up, but his actions had unconsciously become a little aggressive. This woman drove him crazy so easily. If I meet a good-looking guy, it's unavoidable that I'll bring him back for the night. These words were like a meteorite crashing at high speed, smashing all his reason to dust. As he kissed the girl's neck, he could no longer contain the rapid swell of desire in his chest, and he bit down hard, like a beast conquering its prey in the most primitive way. That. The instant the taste of blood pervaded the air, he heard the girl's weak voice. Theo's back instantly stiffened, and his whole body felt like a bucket of icy water had been poured over him. The man still had his head buried in the crook of her neck. Luna had almost screamed at the pain of the bite on her neck, but she could only endure it and awkwardly remind him, that I was just sleeping, not dead asleep. Your actions were more than enough to wake me up. At first, she had wanted to pretend for a bit, but in the end she really couldn't take it, that bite really hurt. Meanwhile, Theo's deep, dark eyes had already blended with the night. He raised his head slowly and locked eyes on her. With one finger lightly caressing her jaw, he spoke as if he was an incubus from hell. I woke you, so what? As soon as he said that, he grabbed her hands tightly and pushed them above her head, pressed down, and kissed her without hesitation. Chapter 84. Luna instinctively wanted to escape, but her hands were caught and her legs were pinned down by the man's knees, as if she was asking for it. What kind of strange situation was this? Was she still dreaming and actually hadn't woken up at all? It was only until Luna almost couldn't breathe from the growing lack of air in her chest that Theo finally released her lips and moved back to her neck where he had just bitten on. His hot tongue laved the wound, as if trying to soothe it, but it made her flesh creep. Hey, Theo. Theo. Luna called his name several times, but he didn't react other than to get busy with her body. The man at that moment was not the usual gentleman, and also did not have that gentleness which she was familiar with. Those sharp teeth slid with desire down her neck to her collarbone, and went even lower. No. The dormant memories in her mind rose up to engulf her, like a thick swamp pulling her in inexorably, making her body quiver and convulse. Just as it hurt so much that Luna wanted to die, the movement on top of her suddenly stopped, leaving a body as heavy and solid as a mountain pressing down on her, unmoving. That deep, suffocating feeling disappeared instantly, leaving her with extreme confusion. Theo. Luna tried patting the man's shoulder, but there wasn't the slightest response. After 10 seconds, the other party still hadn't moved. Carefully, Luna tried to gently turn him over to the side. With the moonlight streaming in through the window, she saw that he was lying peacefully with his eyes closed, like a king in deep slumber, as if that terrifying beast from before hadn't been him at all. What the hell, what was going on? Don't tell me, was he sleepwalking? Luna murmured to herself. It seemed this was the only explanation that made sense. But wasn't Theo's sleepwalking a bit too unique? Coming into her room late at night, biting her like a vampire, and even able to have a decent conversation with her? Theo's breaths were long and steady. It seemed that he really was asleep now. Luna didn't dare wake him, in case he started acting crazy again, but it worried her to leave him like this. But this late at night, who could she go to for help? After some consideration, there was one person she could think of. She picked up her cell phone and called Cleo. "Hello, Luna. Wow. You're actually calling me at this hour. What's happened? What's happened?" Cleo's voice was very loud, almost as if he was shouting. At first Luna had been worried that calling so late would be disturbing him, but things on Cleo's end sounded lively and very noisy in the background. It appeared he was partying the night away. "Cleo, let me ask you something." Ask. "Your brother." "My brother what? Was this person a recorder?" He was repeating everything. Luna was speechless for a bit, then asked anxiously, "Does your brother suffer from sleepwalking?" Since she was on the phone, Luna didn't notice that the man lying stretched out next to her had stiffened subtly at her question. He had only come up with this idea to get himself out of the situation. He never thought that Luna would actually call Cleo. If by any chance Cleo, that idiot, ran his mouth, he would break his legs. Chapter 85. On the other end of the line, Cleo was suddenly silent for a few seconds, which agitated Luna even more, and she hurriedly chased an answer. "Second young master, does he or does he not sleepwalk?" If it was just sleepwalking, then it shouldn't be anything serious, but if he had some other illness, then she had to get him to the hospital as soon as possible. Suddenly turning into a werewolf in the middle of the night, and then suddenly passing out asleep was really scary, all right? "Oh, I was just finding it strange that you suddenly asked this. He really does have this problem." "How do you know that my brother sleepwalks?" On the other end of the call, Cleo answered with a voice that didn't sound any different. Luna was relieved to hear it, and relaxed as she laughed. "It's not a big deal. I went downstairs in the middle of the night to get some water, and saw him standing all stiff and still in the living room. It scared me, that's all." "Really?" Cleo spoke in a funny tone, then switched to a serious one. "Well, it's nothing new, just leave him alone. Whatever he's doing now, just let him continue doing it, and don't wake him up. He'll go back to his room on his own later." Let him continue, and don't wake him up." "Oh, okay, got it." Luna hung up the phone quickly, worried that Cleo would hear something strange in her voice. She looked at Theo lying next to her, and didn't know what to do. "Don't wake him up, does that mean just let him sleep here? What if he started sleepwalking again?" She was really worried to death. Because of this sudden change, the fears that Luna had almost drowned in had already disappeared completely. She looked at the man sleeping unaware next to her, getting angrier and angrier, until she finally pinched his face hard to vent her anger. "Asshole, you scared me to death, and yet you're sleeping so comfortably." The Theo who was no longer acting crazy was obedient and looked harmless, and she pinched him several more times before she was satisfied enough to stop. Looks like the only thing she could do now was to wait for him to leave on his own. She had heard that sleepwalkers might get a huge shock from being woken up, and even die. But clearly she was the one who had had the bigger shock. At first Luna was going to sleep after Theo had left, but hearing the steady heartbeat next to her ear, she fell asleep without her knowing. After a long while, the man next to her slowly opened his ink-black eyes, looking relieved. Then he stared blankly at the girl beside him, gently touching the wrinkles on her forehead with a complicated look on his face. The next morning, Luna was woken up by a phone call. Her first reaction wasn't to pick up the phone, but to turn her head and look beside her. It looked like Theo had already left. Then she searched for her phone in a daze before picking it up. In the next second, Sophia's furious voice came through the phone. "Luna, you've done it now. I warned you at the beginning to watch your behavior and don't embarrass the company, but look what you've done. The whole company's reputation is at stake because of you." Luna's mind cleared instantly. "What happened?" Angrily, Sophia said, "Check Weibo for yourself." Luna climbed out of bed, turned on her laptop, and logged into her Weibo account. Then she saw that her Weibo account had exploded. Normally, the Weibo accounts of most artistes were managed by their agencies, but Luna of course didn't have that kind of special treatment. She hadn't bought any followers, and hadn't run anything special on her account. She only had 30,000 plus followers on Weibo, even less than for an online celebrity. She usually liked to share small things about her daily life, and each post wouldn't have more than 100 likes. But now, thousands of mentions and comments had suddenly popped up overnight. She quickly browsed all the information, and finally understood what had happened. Chapter 86. Luna had been slandered, and pretty nastily. Yesterday at midnight, a popular gossip blogger had put up a long Weibo post titled, "How Calculative the *TCH Luna Climbed Her Way to the Top, Have Never Seen Someone More Shameless." The general content was that she had slept with directors all over in order to get roles, had hooked up with rich, old men and tricked them into giving her gifts, and had deliberately taken advantage of Adam while they were shooting. The Weibo post even said that she always left her room door open during filming, so that anyone who wanted to sleep with her could go right in and do so. It completely made her sound like a loose and totally unprincipled whore. As a result, Adam's fans had exploded, and were staging a group protest against their idol being paired up with a woman like that. They were putting intense pressure on the production team to switch out the second female lead. Comments under Luna's latest post were simply unbearable. They were all abusive words, with everyone saying that Luna should leave the entertainment industry. See it clearly now? You better release a public apology immediately to save the company's image. Sophia ordered her angrily. Luna laughed coldly. Public apology? When an artiste encountered this sort of problem, the agency would usually arrange for a specialized public relations team to minimize the artiste's involvement and reduce the impact. Sophia, however, as if she wanted Luna to save the company's image, instead, she wanted to destroy her completely. If she apologized, it would mean that she acknowledged doing everything mentioned in the Weibo post. Yes, I want to see it online before 8 p.m. tonight. A video would be the best, as it's more sincere. Otherwise you can wait to be kicked out of the film production. By that time, even the company won't be able to protect you. After throwing these threatening words at her, Sophia hung up. Luna was no longer feeling sleepy after the call. She had already known this would happen, but hadn't expected it to be so soon. It seemed Mia really couldn't wait another second, and with Emma fueling the flames behind her, Luna had been pushed into the eye of the storm in one short night. Very well, come. She was starting to think they would never take action. Luna straightaway got out of bed and washed up, then started to put on her makeup. After half an hour, she looked in the mirror, and nodded with satisfaction at how the makeup had transformed her face into a pale and fragile one. Right after she tidied up the table, there was a knock at the door. Luna stood up and opened the door, and then was a little stunned to see that it really was the werewolf from last night, Theo. After what happened last night, it felt a bit awkward to see him now. Theo's expression turned cold as ice when he saw Luna's deathly pale face, and without waiting for her to speak, he took out his cell phone and started to look through his contacts. Out of the corner of her eye, Luna could see his finger stop on the name, Chris Wheeler. Chris, director of public relations at Glory World, had the hands of a magician, which had beautifully resolved many artistes' scandals and saved their images. It could be said that he was a textbook example for all public relations personnel to follow. Luna instantly reacted, throwing herself at Theo like a tiger and taking his cell phone away. What are you doing, Theo? Fixing that problem. Theo's expression was very ugly. Obviously he already knew about the online situation. Speechless, Luna looked at this big boss from the enemy side, who without saying a single word, wanted to help her cheat her way out. Last time, when Theo had called Arthur's personal stylist to come over and save her, that had really frightened her, and luckily no one had noticed. She really couldn't bear it to happen again. If Glory World suddenly got involved in this situation, she would be accused of yet another thing, being disloyal with her foot in two camps. Chapter 87. Luna said easily, if I can't take even this small strike, how can I survive in the entertainment industry? Didn't you say last time that you believed in me? But you don't look convincing at all right now. Theo had a solemn expression on his face. Luna was confused by his words, then she finally remembered her makeover, so she explained, "This pale face and the dark circles are all just makeup which I did myself. I'm not pretending to be happy or tough, I can wipe it off to show you if you don't believe me." Theo suddenly reached out before she finished speaking, and touched her cheeks and eyes gently. It was just a gentle touch, but Luna felt like she had been electrocuted, and couldn't contain a shiver. Luna's reaction made Theo more concerned, and he quickly took his hand back. "Don't try to be tough." Luna laughed. "I won't. If I can't handle it, I'll definitely fly right back to you and hug your thigh." Ruffled feathers smoothed down, Theo slowly relaxed. "Good." After that, Luna scratched her head and looked at him as if she had something to say. "Something you want to say?" Theo asked in a gentle voice, like he was a totally different person from last night. Luna looked at him with a complicated expression on her face for a long time, and in the end couldn't help saying, Theo, have you ever thought about finding a woman to keep you company?" "What do you mean?" Theo's expression immediately turned cold. "Don't blame me for being nosy, I just think." Luna considered her words carefully, then patted him sincerely on his shoulder. "I think you need a woman, in some matters. Holding it in for too long is not good for your health. Wasn't there a saying, one dreams at night what one thinks about in the day?" Theo looked like he kept his distance from girls, but from last night, it was clear that he really needed it. Theo's face was now thoroughly black. "Damn woman, who do you think did this to me? Who do you think left me in an awkward position and forced me to endure after I had tasted the flesh in my mouth?" Seeing Theo's expression turn worse and worse, Luna coughed and quickly sneaked away. "I'm going to be late, I'm going to say goodbye to Little Treasure then head out to filming. Bye." Movie backlit in the suburbs. The moment Luna appeared, a group of Adam's fans, who had been waiting for a long time, immediately ran at her in a frenzy. "Luna! Luna's here. That whore is here. I can't believe she dared to come. Disgusting bitch. You're not allowed to get close to our Mai. Hurry and leave the production. Luna, leave the production. Luna, leave the entertainment industry. Leave." It was a chaotic scene, only a few guards protected Luna as they moved forward. The rest of the production crew was just enjoying the spectacle, now and then pointing and sneering at her. The attention on her was like knives cutting into her inch by inch, and the malicious looks were like sinister poisonous snakes and ferocious beasts, ready to tear her to pieces. Luna couldn't help thinking about a female movie star last year, who had been at the height of her popularity, but in the end committed suicide because of vicious rumors. After she died, her suicide note only had a few words, "Rumors are lethal." The crowd continually threw rotten eggs and vegetables at her, and someone even threw a rock, which almost hit her. Seeing that the rock was about to hit the stylist Amy, who was enjoying the spectacle, Luna's expression changed, and she leapt agilely to block that rock with her arm, when it was about half a meter away from hitting Amy. In the next second, the spot where her arm had been hit started to bleed severely. Shatter 88. The frenzied fans at the scene were stunned when they saw this, and Amy was also scared witless. With a pale face, Luna's cold gaze swept over the fans. "If you want to make trouble, come at me, don't hurt innocent bystanders. You, stop being so hypocritical. Yeah. Stop pretending to be a good person. You're such a shameless fox." Luna's eyes became sharper. "What are you using to decide whether I am a good or bad person? An unsubstantiated Weibo post? Or a groundless rumor? You're young, but I hope you can use your brain before you act. Idols are the ones who have to pay for their fans' behavior. What you say or do represents your idol. Don't let someone else use you without your knowing, otherwise you'll tarnish your idol's reputation for no reason." Luna knew that they wouldn't listen to whatever she said at the moment, except when it was related to the idol they cared about. "How is it your place to lecture us? Actually, I think she has a point. The person who threw the rock just now, come out. Didn't we already agree that we're not allowed to use violence, and at the most just eggs?" "Yeah. Who was it? We're here for justice, not to tarnish Adam's reputation." The rioting fans had calmed down for the moment, and Luna finally squeezed her way into the filming site. When David saw that she had come, he hurriedly called her into the lounge. "Luna, you're here. Come and sit down." "Director Hopper, I'm sorry for causing the production team trouble." Luna's face was full of guilt, and she bowed deeply. Looking at the girl's haggard appearance, David quickly consoled her. "The one who stirred up trouble wasn't you, it was someone who doesn't understand you. I'm very clear on this. Saying that you can't act, that is simply rubbish. As for saying that you slept with members of the production team, how can I not understand, as an involved party? I've seen this kind of thing happen a lot. I am clear in my heart on who is right or wrong." "Thank you, Director." She really appreciated that David could still stand by her at this time. "But this really has been too hard on you, you look so haggard. How about you take a few days off and have a good rest?" David suggested. Luna immediately said, "No need. Director, I would like to continue filming. The film crew has already suffered a lot because of my matter. If filming is slowed down because of me, I wouldn't be able to absolve myself of the guilt even if I die 1,000 times." Seeing her resolute attitude, David was satisfied. "Well, all right. But if you can't go on, you must tell me." After parting with the director, Luna was suddenly pulled by a strong force into an empty corner. The man's face was so anxious that even his golden hair looked listless. "Luna, is your arm okay?" "A minor injury, I've dealt with it." Luna didn't care. Adam was irritated. "I was going to make a statement to explain the situation to my fans, but Brother Sheldon changed my Weibo password to prevent me from logging in, and said that I would be doing you more harm than good if I stepped out now." Luna patted her chest with a happy expression. Luckily Brother Sheldon is intelligent. Adam instantly looked hurt. "Woman with no conscience, I was going to help you," Luna said with resignation. "If you really want to help me, then I'll give you a warning ahead of time. Later, I'm going to pretend to be a little white flower. Cooperate with me. Don't go overboard, otherwise don't blame me if I really cut all ties with you." Adam dug out his ears and made an incredulous expression. "What did you say you were going to pretend to be?" "A little white flower. Got a problem with that? Are you sure that a tyrannical flower like you can accomplish such a difficult challenge?" Get lost. Chapter 89. It was also a coincidence that today, most of Luna's scenes would be with Mia. As Luna was sitting in the shade of a tree and studying the script, an odd voice suddenly sounded in her ear. "Yo, isn't this our big star? Luna, you're really famous now, everyone knows you. Hee, I knew you did all those disgraceful things. You're really so shameless, to dare come here after what's happened," Mia said with a gloating expression on her face. As long as Luna was kicked out of the production, she could seize this chance to replace her, then she could play opposite Brother Adam. Luna bit her lip and her body trembled. She silently looked embarrassed. Mia was even more satisfied seeing this. She approached Adam and said girlishly, "Brother Adam, you should stay away from this sort of person, otherwise she will ruin your reputation. She's already making you start to lose fans." As Mia drew near, a strong smell of perfume immediately drifted over. The veins on Adam's forehead popped. He was about to blow up on the spot, but at the thought of Luna's warning, he took a deep breath and managed to bear it. Seeing how Adam wasn't responding to her, Mia thought that encountering this situation had put him in a bad mood, so she thoughtfully consoled him. "Brother Adam, don't worry. Sooner or later, the production team will be pressured to switch Luna out. You're very noisy." Adam had to exert all his self-control to replace all the curses he wanted to say with 3 words. "Sorry, Brother Adam, I won't disturb your rest." Feeling a little aggrieved, Mia walked away. She was unhappy that Adam's cold attitude was still unchanged, but after thinking for a bit, she quickly felt reassured. Anyway, once she landed the role of the second female lead, she would have the opportunity to get along with Brother Adam. At the thought of the intimate scenes, she couldn't contain her excitement. Having said that, why did the director still want her to come today and continue acting with Luna? What a waste of time. But she really liked the scene they would be filming today, since there was a part where she would slap Luna's face. I'll definitely show you then. Director, I think for this scene, the effect would be better if I really slapped her. What do you think? Mia, who had never shown much interest in shooting, actually sought out the director of her own accord to talk about the scene. How could David not know what she was thinking? He said heavily. For the majority of it we'll do a cheat, at most it's enough for you to just touch her face. Got it. While Mia's mouth replied agreeably, she completely had no intention of following his words. She had made up her mind to deliver a real slap, and to do it several times, and make this be *tch suffer. Anyway, this wouldn't be the first time she had taken personal revenge through her acting, and she had always been successful. When all the departments were ready, filming began. In this scene, Ella Smith had just entered the palace under the alias Clara Foster. She was only a little palace maid, but because the emperor had been eyeing her, Princess Daisy had become envious, and had called her to her chambers to embarrass her. Shameless bitch, you dare seduce the emperor right under my nose. After Princess Daisy had finished speaking, she slapped her hard. The moment Mia brought her hand down, Luna's eyes narrowed slightly, and she turned a little to the side, cleverly avoiding the camera and Mia's hand. But her body looked as if it had been struck with huge strength, sending her whole person falling to the ground. Then her face twisted, and with a "tui" sound, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Luna, David was shocked, and the other staff who were watching were also stunned as they gathered around her. Mia, is this your first day acting? You can't even control your own strength? David, who was usually good-natured, was really angry this time. He could not meddle in things outside of the movie, but if someone took such a cheap shot in his movie, there was no way he would tolerate it. Mia herself was also shocked. While it was true that she had deliberately used some strength, it was definitely not to the point that could make Luna fall down and spit blood. Also, just now, she clearly felt that Luna had avoided her, and she had not hit her at all. Hence, she straightened her neck and cried out in protest, I just slapped her gently, I didn't use any strength at all. She's pretending. In filmography, to cheat is to change the relative positions of actors or props in order to shoot the same scene from different angles. Chapter 90. Unfortunately for Mia, she had a very bad reputation in the entertainment industry, and she often did this kind of thing. Furthermore, she had been targeting Luna from the start, so no one believed her. Director, I'm fine, I just have a small cut in my mouth, it'll be alright after I put some ice on it for a bit. Sister Mia might have just wanted to create a better effect, there's no need to be angry. Luna's face showed that she had been treated unjustly, but that she was struggling to bear it. Her expression was one of tolerance and understanding. Seeing that expression made not just the director, but also everyone else sympathize with her. Adam was watching nearby, and the corners of his mouth twitched as he almost died from shock. This person could really pretend to be a little white flower. Seeing her frail and delicate appearance, Mia immediately blew her top. Luna, you faker. You clearly did it on purpose. You're the one who bit yourself. Do you have a blood capsule hidden in your mouth? Mia, enough. David rebuked her sternly. Next to her, Mia's assistant was afraid that the situation would get out of hand, so she hurriedly pulled her back and persuaded her, Sister Mia, forget it. Don't make the director angry. After all, we're also to blame. Obviously, she also thought that Mia had deliberately hit Luna. She who was always around Mia had seen this type of thing many times. Mia backhanded the assistant across the face. Get lost. How is it your place to tell me what to do? Like Luna, the assistant also fell to the ground after being hit, and blood dribbled out of the corner of her mouth. The staff around them, especially those who, like the assistant, didn't have very high status, all rushed to help her up, and they looked at Mia in disgust. Although Luna's private life was chaotic, she had never let it affect other people, and she was committed to acting. But this Mia, simply put, was a shrew. This was the first time that Mia had been unfairly accused. When she saw that everyone didn't believe her, her face turned blue, as if she was going to pass out from fury in the next second. Just as she lost control and was about to recklessly tear Luna apart, suddenly a person came up to her and grabbed her wrist. Mia, really, I know you want to perform well so that the director would see you in a new light, but you don't have to be so serious. People who know you will say you're committed to your work, but what about the people who don't understand you? The person speaking was Emma, who had just arrived. Emma didn't have any scenes today, so she didn't actually need to come. But she still came, for the purpose of seeing Luna's hapless state. Who would have thought that she would arrive to such a scene? What the hell was this Mia doing? She had such good cards, how could she play them like this? Seeing how everyone was starting to feel sorry for Luna because of the extremely loathsome Mia, Emma hurriedly stepped in to salvage the situation. When Mia saw Emma, it was as if she was seeing her family member. She immediately took her hands and started to cry. Sister Emma, this bitch is slandering me. Afraid that Mia's big mouth would annoy people again, Emma dragged her into a corner. Why did you lose your cool? Luna will be kicked out sooner or later, why are you provoking her now? Mia was incoherent with rage. At the beginning I wanted to teach her a small lesson, but I didn't even touch her at all. She was the one who dodged it herself, and even deliberately made it look like I had hit her hard enough for her to spit out blood. Looking at how the director continually comforted Luna, who had a magnanimous expression on her face, Emma could immediately see what she was scheming, and hastily thought of a way to save the situation. Mia, it's no use if I believe you, the problem is that no one else believes you. Because you didn't explain the situation clearly, the best thing now is for you to apologize to Luna immediately. Hearing this, Mia blew up. What? Me apologize? I won't. Sister Emma, how can you stand on her side and defend her?